Do you feel like your parenting rights and your ability to parent the way that you want to parent is taken away from you when you are trying to co-parent with a toxic ex? If so, this video is for you. Welcome back to Be the Light in Their Storm. On this channel, we talk about parenting with a toxic ex partner and a lot of healing yourself so you can be more present for your children and be that light that they're looking for in the storm that they're currently in with you, just in a different way. So remember to subscribe below, like the videos for me so you know when I post more, and let's dive into this. So, parenting with a toxic ex. You really can't get any worse of a parenting situation than having to co-parent with somebody that is out to make your life and your children's life miserable, chaotic, stressful, and traumatic. So having to, not only are you trying to find your own footing in moving forward as a single parent, you also are having to combat all of this negativity that comes to your house every time you get your children back. So, and it's not always necessarily direct negativity in the beginning, depending on their age. It may be, I heard everything from, I don't want to be here with you, mommy, I'd rather be with daddy, coming out of a 3 and 4 year old's mouth, to them just coming over angry and upset, or being completely mad and hurt all weekend because their dad was at Disneyland without them and sending them pictures every couple of minutes of him doing this and him doing that at Disney. So there was this constant creation of just chaos and emotional trauma that was being presented. And they would come over and question my parenting ability. They would, say, oh, well, daddy said that that's not how we do it. Or daddy said that we need to do it this way. And so there's always this conflict of what I was trying to say or get them to do versus what their dad was trying to say or get them to do. And this is where, that inconsistency that I've talked about between the households creates this unstable environment for your children, because they're being told this at one house and then you're telling them something completely different, and they don't know who to believe because you're telling them, no, well, daddy's not right, that's or that's not how we do it at this house. And so there's this like push-pull situation constantly going on with the kids every time they go from one house to another, because the toxic parent, there's not going to be any consistency unless you get on board with what they're doing, which is nothing. So, so when you're in these dynamics and you have your children questioning and doubting things that you're doing, and maybe you have one child that feels like they have to be a parent to the other children, there's, constant comparison between the two houses, and there's a level of disrespect that comes over. And, I think over the years of some of these, I realized that maybe they're survival mechanisms that my kids have, so they don't upset the other parent. And, I've learned to give a little grace on some of the conflicts that come between the two houses. And I've also learned to put boundaries down on some. So the toxic parent will, in fact, try to do everything and anything to take your ability to be able to parent from a place of being healthy away from you. So I could give so many situations on this, but they will take the ability for you to have a say in anything that they can. They will, for instance, let's just stop on this one for right now. So, for instance, mine knew that I was not necessarily on board with having guns around, and definitely not around the children. So when we split, he, within a year of us splitting with a 2, 3, and 5-year-old, they would come home and tell me that they were shooting guns with daddy. Well, it's too late now for me to tell them no, because they've already done it. And so all I can do at that point is make sure they understand that they're maybe not ready to be shooting guns, that they need to make sure that they're safe, and I need to do, cleanup on making sure that they have the rules and the ins and outs of what it is they're doing. Another instance is, they may not have bedtimes. As little as they are, they were, or even now as they're older, they'll be out riding their bikes late at night, and I don't think it's something that's safe. I don't necessarily think it's something they should be doing, but they're not with me, so I don't have a say in that. And the kids see that. They see the difference between the parents and what freedoms they have at one house versus what freedoms they have at another house, and they learn to use that, sadly. But depending on the extent, they may throw it back in your face. They may say, oh, well, I'll just go over to dad's house because he'll let me do this. And it takes your ability to parent them away from you, because you either have to say, okay, I'm going to give you whatever it is you're saying you want, because otherwise you may go to dad's and never come back. And it's just this constant vicious cycle that is created by the toxic parent that really limits you from being able to parent the way that you want to parent your kids without risking them wanting to go stay at dad's because dad gives them the things that you want to put restrictions on. And unfortunately, it happens. And I think I stopped really trying to fight a lot of that a while ago in my life and with my kids, and I would just make sure that once I heard about something that they were doing, that they were educated, and that I let them know where I stood on it and my concerns, and my boundaries and expectations, rules around that situation when they're here, and just let them make their choice, because they're going to make it anyway. And I'm not trying to create more of a wedge between my children and myself than has already been created. So you have to kind of pick your battles. And for me, battling every little thing that he let them do that I wasn't okay with just wasn't worth it. Like, it was easier for me to just kind of let him be who he was going to be, and make sure that I was there on the back end to make sure my children felt supported and cared for and knowledgeable in whatever it was that they were going through with that particular moment. So one way to really feel like you get control back with your parenting rights, and feeling like you have a say in things is to start learning how to set boundaries and create boundaries with your children. And that there needs to be choices and consequences, and boundaries need to be put into place so they feel safe, so that they feel loved and protected by you, which is what children need from us as parents. And they may not like the rules or boundaries. They may push back at them. And if you're willing, when they push back with a boundary, if there's a compromise in there somewhere, then by all means compromise with them. Show them what it is to compromise and how a positive, healthy relationship works, by having boundaries, making compromises, and putting things in place that both of you are okay with. And the other thing to really do is to let go. It's let go of the expectations you have with the toxic parent. Let go of expectations that you are going to have a say in everything that goes on with your children, and let go of expectations that there's going to be a healthy co-parenting situation, and let go of the control that you are used to trying to have, because that was a safety zone for you. We all create a level of control within this dynamic as a safety measure and a measure for us to feel safe and secure in our own way. But those safety measures and holding on to, trying to manage all these different perspectives and angles with the children and the toxic parent, and making sure, the children aren't taking on too much, and that there's a balance, and that they're getting a chance to decompress, and all this stuff, and just kind of letting go of what you can to create a more stable environment in the long run. So take time and really reflect on, the things that you feel you're not having the parenting rights that you want to have, and what you can do to find a place that works for you and your children, for you guys. And don't worry about the other person. Don't worry about that toxic ex, because they're going to do what they want to do anyway. So stop trying to bring it together and make it cohesive, because they're never going to do that for you. So save yourself the energy and the time in trying to find that peace between the two of you, and find that peace between you and yourself, yourself and your children. So thank you for listening. I really hope this helps you and gives you some insight. And thank you. Infinite love and gratitude.